Welcome everyone, we're officially on the last weekend here of the regular season, Jaws. I'm Vicky Kitty, and as per usual, I'm here with Jaws, and we're here to take you guys through APAC. We're opening up the series with the Hangzhou Spark versus the Chengdu Hunters.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Countdown Cup on the horizon, Vicky. The last tournament before the playoffs around the corner. I'm pretty pumped. I'm sure everybody else is as well. And we're once again going to see the regions clash very soon also. But keeping it in the present, Hunters and the Spark coming up on your screens in a moment. And do not forget, the vault is open. All the cool Overwatch League skins for the different all the different events that have been going on, I guess. Oh, no, not the different events, sorry. Just the championship skins even, sorry.
Ones.
The past championship skins. The Doomfist, the Winston. Yeah, you want to get your hands on those. They're 200 league tokens each. They won't be around for long on those, so make sure you get your hands on those. I know I was missing the Doomfist one, so I ended up picking up that one the other day as well. So that was kind of nice. There was a brig one on there too, Monkey.
I got the brig one, actually. The only one I actually was missing was the Winston one, so I actually was able to get that thanks to the fact that I linked my YouTube account, and I've been watching so much Overwatch League that I had enough league tokens to actually get that. So yeah, make sure you guys have your account linked down below so that way you guys could also get some tokens, and you guys could have the opportunity to get the whole skins.
Yeah, best Doom skin in the game. There you go. Let's have a look at the standings, though, Vicky. Let's get on with it. Let's get it into the game as quick as we can, because I am excited, Vicky. Why am I excited? Well, look at where Spark are and look at where Hunters are. Hunters 2-0 right now. Spark 0-2. If Hunters win, Spark are out. Hunters are in. If Spark wins and Hunters lose, there could still be an upset potential here and there. So top 4 teams, of course, as always, will go and advance to the Countdown Cup, or at least the knockout stage, of course. And the Philadelphia Fusion and the Seoul Dynasty have made it there already. Thank God, the Fusion made it, you know, I mean, my word.
It's been sweaty out here.
It has. It's been topsy-turvy, I think, Vicky. Valiant, unfortunately, well, yeah, they're down at the bottom. We all knew that was going to happen, though, but they're already out. But still, there are places to play for, too, in fact, and they'll be decided over the next couple of days.
Yeah, this is the last weekend again, and looking at the series that we're about to have first, with between the Spark and the Hunters, this is basically everything on the line for the Spark if they want to remain relevant within this month.
Yeah, like remaining relevant is going to be an important thing for Spark to keep in mind. They've had so many roster changes, man. Like, it has been crazy. Yeah. Coaching staff all over the place.
Last minute
Takoyaki Godsby as well have left the roster. And yeah, last minute, which is insane. Like, insane. And it's been a bit confusing because I had high hopes of the Spark coming into the season. They had a massive roster, a lot of crazy talent as well, Vicky. And where is it all gone? I don't know. It's been very strange. It's been a strange experience to be a Spark fan, I feel. Shy, of course, has been popping off luckily. Actually, let's get those stars up on your screens right now because I want to see who we've actually got today. Okay, so Architected Shy, which is great. Shy needs to start every single time, and he has been recently, of course, with the Cosby taking a step back. Gushwei Benar, Mika and Coldis actually coming in as the support duo, Vicky.
I'm questioning here why we're gonna have Mika and Coldis open things up, especially with the way that MCD has been popping off on the Ana. I'm actually really surprised. I'm not too sure if they're trying to go for something different here, Jaws, or there's something that I just don't know about. But this is a little like, I'm looking at the Spark almost not try in the first game going into the series, maybe opting to go for something different again. Like, I'm not too sure what I'm seeing here with Coldis and Mika.
Yeah, let's have a look who they're facing, though. Of course, it is the Hunters, and they have had a crazy season. I mean, we've seen new faces like Gaga come in and just destroy this Eastern region. It's been crazy to look at. And, of course, my main man on the left there, Leave. And, of course, his partner, Jinmu, as well. Oh, man, Jinmu and Leave have just been such a wonder to watch. Leave especially. His Tracer, oh, just piece de resistance. If he was a Michelin star dish, Vicky, I wouldn't be able to count the number of stars he has on one hand. I was off the screen because I was looking straight into his eyes at my computer screen over there. Oh boy, Leave has been crazy good to watch. And I'm not going to lie, Spark, are they going to be able to take down the Hunters today? It doesn't look like it, honestly. I feel this is so heavily weighted in favor of the Hunters right now, just because of how strong people like Lee, Jinmu, and Gaga are currently.
Yeah, I mean, despite the set history between both of these teams, the Hunters are obviously in that favorable spot, especially looking at how they've done so far within this month. You talk about Leave and Jinmu. I mean, this DPS duo has such high synergy, and obviously we've been seeing that Jinmu Pharah pop off. Meanwhile, Leave is putting on so much pressure onto your backlines while he's on that Tracer that your attention is so split in both directions. You have one half of your team focusing these skies and the other half making sure that Leave isn't terrorizing your supports on the backline.
Yeah, it really feels like this could be a rather quick series, Vicky. I just want to point out as well, Yveltal's hair, looking very blue today. It looks
matching. We're
crazy
matching.
cool.
We're on the same wavelength here.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, you got a bit of blue in your hair as well. I like it. I like it. Excellent work. All right, Busan's going to be our first map. Hanamura, King's Row, Havana, Ilios if we need them both. We are going on to what looks like downtown as our first stage for Control. Now, let's take a second, Vicky, and let's talk about Mika and Coldest a little bit, because we haven't really seen them a lot at all. And MCD, yeah, he has been popping off. Like, this is going to be a mad test for the Spark. I mean, they are not in the worst position when you look at playoffs, but they're also not the greatest. So, something in Mika and Coldest now, this has to be a massive level up for them in this series to kind of prove to the Spark fans and just the Overwatch League audience as well that Mika and Coldest are not a force to be reckoned with.
That's an opportunity now, especially since they're starting off Mika and Coldest here. But Jinmu's on that Pharah that we've seen him terrorize with. Gaga already taking a good amount of damage, but it's just about positioning that we're seeing right now from the Hunters, just trying to prioritize where they want to rotate first.
Architect and Shire and double hit scan as well. Jimmy's going to have a little bit of problems, but you can already see how far he's playing back, but he's just playing the skies. They have to peek him to get some damage in. Nice little halt, but it doesn't result in anything. And a quick rotation from the Hunters there, Vicky. They do end up capping the point first, and Architect in a little bit of trouble. Doesn't manage to get away, just gets chased down by Gaga. Lee finds a pick off on Shy as well.
Well, there's that threat opportunity that goes down. Minus this Coldest that could deal with Jinmu, but while they're so fixated on Jinmu, it's kind of like what we were talking about. Now you have the Hunters that not only do they have control over the point first, but they're still cleaning up the Spark. Look at that. They're desperately trying to hold back, but Leaf just trying to get that last pick, and he manages to get away. He was literally one.
Yeah, he's actually 1 HP. A feather could fall on Mika right now and he'd topple over.
That's it.
And they've gone for a comp swap as well, Vicky, here. So Shy switched over to the Sombra, Architect on the Tracer, so they forgo a lot of the ult charge. Tactical Visor, it's whatever, to be honest with you. But they're just looking for this hack in the skies, or maybe a hack onto Late Young, maybe, and burst them down. But Shy is going to have a very, very tough time actually trying to execute these hacks because everybody's playing so split.
Especially, yeah, with Jinmu being in the sky, he is going to take some damage, but he has the Rocket Barrage that you have to look out for, as well as if also with the Valk. But Coldest is the first one to go down, and he goes down with the Transcendence while he's at it. The Spark already playing at a disadvantage, picking both your supports. It's just, Jinmu's just terrorizing the backline still. He's just getting away with it, while Bernard is realizing, all right, I got to back up here, but now he's treading on enemy territory.
I mean, okay, self-destruct, I mean, that's going to get zero people. I mean, it clears up for high ground, I guess. Leaf does get rezzed as Scoochway finds him, but then gets taken out by Monk, who's holding an off angle. That was an ambitious bomb. Probably the most ambitious bomb I think we've seen in the Eastern region in a while. Transcendence being used, Vicky.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of ambitious ults in general being used. Jaws, it's almost as ambitious as we saw those EMP attempts from Shy just last weekend, but not too sure if the Spark are just trying to utilize that trend. They have the rally that they're trying to push into the point. Now that overtime's ticking away, you have the Spark. They haven't even been able to touch the point, and they're not going to be able to without their support. Now that Jinmu's taking care of them, he utilized the Rocket Barrage, but it's just space that he's controlling. I don't know what's going on here with the Spark, but the Hunters just freebie their way through that entire first round.
I mean, that was just a roll. The comp swap, I'm not sure if I like it too much. The Tracer and the Sombra that late, especially the Sombra that late. I don't mind the Tracer that late at all, because Tracer can get stuff done on her own, but Shy switching to the Sombra, expecting to build up EMP for it to be impactful when they've already wasted half their time. Interesting moves from the Spark so far. I got actually a little fact about Coldest too, by the way, Vicky. The last time he did actually play in the Overwatch League, the only time he's played in the Overwatch League on the Spark, was actually against the Hunters last year in 2020.
Oh.
And they did actually win 3-1, but of course that was a long time ago. Over a year ago, mind you. So, you know, he's got some experience against the Spark on the stage, but at this point, yeah, in gamer years, that's about 50 years.
Well, my back is hurting already.
Going down.
From age too, and not just that, but it's looking like right now Gaga and Late Young wasting no time. They've taken care of the Spark, winning another team fight. I don't think the Spark have won a single team fight since we've started this series, Jaws. Now they're backed off and back into the spawn, and control's going to go into favor of Hunters already.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough out here for the Spark. It really is. Feels like they're just losing these neutrals, right? They're going to try for a big rotation on the side, but you can already see... Oh, nice little bait, actually. Maybe they can get out the door before a rotation from Gaga comes through. Doesn't look like it, though. They're just getting pummeled with bullets,
that was
but a beautiful
really
hook
good.
into a right-click kills Leave.
That was beautiful right there, and now that's going to start things off for the Spark. They can finally play at an advantage, but they have to deal with this Ant Matrix. The Immortality Field's going to help save the rest of the Hunters while they hold that choke point. Taking a look at Bernard, who's on the back, though. He's trying to split some of that attention, but not wanting to get sandwiched. They have to back off, and Shy gets shut down after trying to utilize that Deadeye. Meanwhile, Bernard with the Diva Bomb, he can't even get back into his mech because he gets deleted. And now the rest of the Spark, their plans have been foiled. Hunters are pushing forward, and they still maintain control over the point. Spark couldn't do much off of that after their supports unfortunately died with their ultimates already in their pocket.
Yeah, Hunters lost one critical damage tool there and Leave so early on in the fight. They managed to hold off very, very well, regardless of Shy going for a crazy flank with the Deadeye. Just didn't end up working out. The mitigation was too much. The 7th man, that Torp turret, doing a little bit more than Leave, apparently, in that situation. They're going to go in again and start for the rally.
And this time as well, they have to deal with the Molten Core. They're dropping down, but look who's right behind them. It's Architect, and he has the Tac Visor, and he's cleaning things up with all the rest of the damage coming in from the Spark on the front lines. That was a great way for Architect to also get into position there, because then he was just able to keep pressuring them when they were forced to retreat. Great way to block that line of sight, but now the Spark finally have a fighting chance, and they've still lost members. Coldest have to come back from the spawn now.
Yeah, but they're on 90% as well. But yeah, Mika goes down. Are you serious? Who's in the back line? Wait, Gaga's in the back line? What is he doing? I didn't really know Gaga was in their spawn. Apparently needed Spark in that situation. Gooshway finds a nice hot to Yveltal, but it doesn't matter because Leave's killed 2 already.
Yeah, and he's going on to the back line too. He's going in for a flank. They have to deal with them. Now he gets deleted after the pool. And that Discord Orb managing to do enough damage, but the rest of the Hunters have now been here. Nobody there to touch. The Hunters are on their way to speed run through the series already, Jaws.
Oh my goodness. Leave comes back, just kills 3 people. Gaga was apparently just a distraction tool in the spawn of the Spark. What more do you want right now from the Hunters, to be honest with you? I mean... Speed run and a half. We're there hitting the 111 at this rate, Vicky. I'm going to be real with you. I think we need to jump to a quick break. Everybody needs to compose themselves. We'll see you guys in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
The headshot is there. They put him in the ground 6 feet under. Dynamite around the corner. Guns coming up towards one. Putting a win. He's trying to get this pulse bomb stick. But Shy gets him in the head yet again. Are you joking? That's it. That's the closeout. Give Shy all the awards, all the accolades. He is the season MVP.
It was all about positioning right there. That's going to be the name of the game for Profit if you want to stick on this point. The sound barrier to keep the rest of Hunters alive. I love the approach right there to follow with a Death Blossom. That's going to not only control some space, but put out a lot of damage for a Monk.
Meanwhile, though, Fitz got shot. He starts things up. Round the con. Bomb and big! Architect and 2! Going off to the side. This is really, really nice. It's going to be a nice window of opportunity for the Spark now. It's the thing. They're actually running up to enough damage. They were taking so much damage in the front.
Oh, and they did it just in time here, too. But it's going to be Lee who dives into both of the supports, and this is exactly what they want. Welcome back, everyone. We're currently in the middle of our first series between the Hunters versus the Spark, and the Hunters are well on their way to speed running already through this first series.
Yeah, it looks like it. That was a very, very quick control. Not quite 200 to 0% for the Hunters, but it felt that way. It very much felt that way. We're still seeing what looks like Mika and Coldest actually staying in for the Sparks. No changes for their support lineup, interestingly enough. And yeah, I dug a little bit deeper into the Coldest, I guess, lore book. And yeah, he did only play one map in 2020 when he was against the Hunters, and it was Control, and he lost. So still, unfortunately, a 0% win rate, but hopefully he can pull him back. He can pull it back in this next map. We're going to in just a second. But the Hunters, let's talk about them real quick, because my God, they are just on fire. like, what more do you want from Leave? Or what more do you want for the rest of the Hunters? They lose one at the start of the fight, and then they still manage to hold off 6 members of the Spark, just kind of running at them. It's kind of crazy. I mean, yes, you got the summon, you have the Torb turret, but
yeah.
Still, you're losing Leave of all people, and they still manage to do it. I mean, the power of the Hunters really does grow every single week, it feels. And I am very excited, by the way, just, Vicky, just like the overall arching narrative for the Hunters going into something like the playoffs is going to be, it's going to be crazy. I love the way their style, and I think everybody kind of fell in love with how they played, and now they are just an incredible, almost super team of players, and it's just such a come-up story. It's just a success story. I love it. I love to see it.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy seeing how the Hunters, throughout this season alone, you saw how they just worked their way up, and now they're one of those top teams in the APAC region that you just can't ignore right now, especially with the famous Jinmu Pharah. Like, this is a story I've seen before, Jaws. You can't play ignore the Pharah. I know this from contenders when it comes to that Pharah player Yazan, who's absolutely beast mode on Pharah, but that's the problem, and Jinmu really reminds me of what happens when you do play ignore the Pharah. It just never works. Never do it. Not even in your own
Never
games.
works. I think Uzana's like, what, 15 accounts in top 10 somehow? You know what I mean? Like,
and different platforms.
Yeah, exactly. Jimmy on the Pharah yet again. Of course, Leave on the Hangzhou. Worked out for them well thus far. This dive, though, from the Spark could be quite frustrating, but not quite that frustrating if Leave can just randomly find a pick onto Shy, okay. I want to know if that was invisible too. Potentially not, or might have been, but a Hangzhou arrow randomly landing in your head as you're invisible as a Sombra is probably one of the most frustrating things in the game.
Absolutely, super tilting. And look at this positioning too. Gaga also is just trying to check out for Shy, who's already been on the back line, but they find Shy again, and they find Shy. Oh, this is not going to work out for the Spark. You're not going to be able to build the EMP at this point.
How did he get found twice? Oh my word. I think they belong in a Bond film, maybe. Sniffing out the spies that much, I don't think Bond will get much work done. Shy has now had enough of the Sombra, has now switched over to Hangzhou instead, so a little bit more poke. Something to contend with Leave would be a good idea. Put pressure in the skies as well. Guangzhou trying to pressure point this whole time as well. Luckily he has Architect at his back, Vicky.
Yeah, they were waiting in the back for quite some time, maybe waiting for Shy to make moves, but with Shy making the swap over to the Hanzo, Guangzhou taking a lot of damage. He had to back off, but Leave doesn't let him. Blocks out the only path he has to roll out and was able to put that damage out there. Guangzhou also going down. That's going to take away more time away from the Spark.
Yeah, a lot more time. What, 2 minutes 20 now left on the clock for the Spark. And Leaf has all of the kill, or all of them except for one. Late Young got a kill onto Shy a little bit earlier on. They're still trying to set up this dive, but Jinmu is immortal in the skies right now.
Just look at the way he's just playing the building right now. He has that cover to just get out of the line of sight of the rest of the Spark. Meanwhile, you have Leaf covering the other side. Just essentially just trying to make sure that none of the Spark have that open path to get out. Getting pulled right in, though. Shy just forced to back off. Both tanks, though, are really low. It's difficult for Mika to try to get into position, but with this Valk, maybe they can. But now with the Supercharger out from Gaga, that's so much damage coming in. And both Architect and Shy won't be in this fight. And look at the way the Hunters are already playing so far up.
Can we talk about Gaga's positioning as well on this door? Look at him. Look at him just chill. He has literally built a Minecraft fortress around himself and will not leave.
This is like looking at Minecraft Steven's Magic, except now it's just you currently have Gaga just making their own house.
Look at his positioning,
you don't need cover when you have your own cover.
This is comical. Like, it's actually comical. He's just sat in a corner with a shield. It's not really a corner, I guess, a flat surface, but it still looks as ridiculous. Okay, Gushue, he's going to try and set up again, but 50 seconds remains now, and actually forced the Transcendence, but Shy's already dead again.
Yeah, did not even get to Shy on time, and now they wanted to try to push in, but now that they've already used the Transcendence and the Valk too from Mika, you have to deal with Jinmu, and it's difficult to do that when you have Yveltal right there beside them. Gaga taking a lot of damage, manages to get away and get healed up by Yveltal, but the Ant Matrix is also going to block that path, and the Spark are playing so split up at this point. Throwing the Diva Bomb now too. They're trickling in with their ult, and now they have no Transcendence, no Valk, and they have less than 30 seconds to get on this point, Jaws.
Yeah, they got a pick though. Jinmu is dead. Can they make something of it? Lei Young's going to go down as well.
Oh, there's an opportunity, especially since Lei Young fell into those dragons, but
they're
getting
Shy.
res right into it. Shy finally getting into position onto the back lines so they could get set up here. This is their opportunity. Finally leave, and now the Spark are at the number advantage, and they're also taking control over the point. Better late than never, I always say, now as it's set over to overtime.
Oh my word, Shy had a vendetta against the Hunters there. As soon as it always flicked to OT, he just went beast mode. Well, how many kills do you have there? At least 4, right? 4 of them were headshots too. Oh my goodness, Shy turned it up to 11. Finally they get the point. 3 minutes to go, though, for this second. Jinmu's actually switched over from the Pharah. Makes a whole lot of sense. Pharah a little bit more difficult to play on the second point of Hanamura. What is happening in the back line? Okay, Jinmu's just almost farming for free. It looked like he was going to go down there, but luckily enough, he did recall in time, or translocate even. And they might want to be able to do the same thing here. So Gushue should just be able to roll up to high ground, lay the mines, clear the high ground completely away, and then Spark can kind of roll on in after him.
Well, I really like this swap here from Jinmu, because now with Leaf having the dragons that he's already going to send out, the minefields being on the high ground, it's caught Yveltal off guard, and Monk is taking a lot of damage. We see Architect hugging their spawn, but he's got to worry, though. At the same time, Cold is trying to give him the backup, but Architect goes down. Leaf does not let him just move into the spawn for free. He needs to clear some space for Monk to also get into position, but yeah, look at the way that the Hunters are playing. The Spark are also playing really reserved after utilizing what they had left.
Leaf actually does not miss right now, although Bernard kills Late Young, and Leaf actually maybe missed a couple there because Shy got a kill.
Oh, but it hit the wall, but it still finds Gaga. The shield not going to hold itself up to protect themselves from the Diva Bomb, thinking that it was actually going to go right behind them, but now the Dragons will stop them from moving in. The EMP, though finding Gushue and Bernard, nobody from the Hunters to contest. That looked like a really scary situation for the Spark, but at the end, they still were able to just roll through that second point. They didn't want to give up that space. They put on a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, that was an amazing entry from Gushue to start off that fight, or start off that point cap even. Gushue rolled up to high ground, laid the mines down, killed off the brig of the Hunters, which kind of snowballed their way to victory there on what looked like just an inevitable full hold from the Hunters on point A. Oh, okay, this is Shy's kills. Okay, so he kills a lot of people here. One with a Dragon Strike on high ground, I believe. Yeah, Late Young as he gets ejected from the mech. And then he just goes absolutely crazy. Double headshot on Monk. and then just rolls through the rest of the team as well. There was not really anything left standing in his way. Ooh, what a shot on to leave too. Oh my word. You need a pop-off performance like that from Shy if Spark are going to stand a chance against the Hunters. Shy has been their superstar this entire season. There was a bit of odd kind of roster combination, I'd say, at the start of the year with Shy not having 100% playtime, but when they just permanently fielded him, bam, the Spark looked infinitely better. And remember as well, Vicky, Spark at one point went 4-0 in the qualifications for a monthly tournament as well. So, you know, Shy keeping in the roster, extremely good, but you need more pop-off performances. It's a lot of weight on one man's shoulders, but if there's one man's shoulders that I'd want to put all that weight on, it's definitely someone like Shy's.
Yeah, honestly, thinking about it, I think it was a Junjiasu that they did the best in. At least that's where they looked the best, and Shy was a heavy contributor to that. Now, with the Hunters on the attack, they still have Jinmu on this far to try to at least get this first point here. Already rolling in, despite having this 1v1 off to the side. Archetype finds Monk. There's still action going down on the point. They haven't gotten the first tick, and Guangzhou is just trying to move back, but they've lost Bernard, who was just trying to hold back the point originally. Now as they dive in, the Hunters, they're sitting pretty comfortably here. They do find a hack, and they do find Gaga. It's a great start here for the Spark to maintain this defense, because it was looking a little grim. They still were able to isolate Monk, and that was a really big deal to start off this fight, because then the Hunters, they felt safe to move in when they saw the rest of the Spark weren't here.
Yeah, Jimmy's working up towards that barrage as well. They've already secured a tick, so maybe EMP barrage is the order of the day. Playing it rather slow, yeah, just looking to build ults unless they can find a pick. Cold is forced to use nade fairly early. Could be in trouble, but Bernard is right at his back. I say that! Instantly, Coldness goes down to Jinmu.
Cold is out. Jinmu also finding Mika. That's both supports out, all at the hands of Jinmu. Leon getting D-Max is forced back off, but Architect is also popping off on those back lines. Architect being a big threat here, but with 2 ticks already going in favor of Hunters, he won't be able to touch here, and now the Hunters have been able to split him apart from the rest of the team. He's going to have to go for that reset.
I don't think... Is he going to be able to meet the respawn timer? I don't think he is. If he ends up just dying right now... I'm curious on Architect's positioning currently. I mean, like, okay, so he's just trying to go for a sneaky pulse bomb in the back. Maybe he sees Monk.
Trying to get to opportunity here. Guangzhou getting that picked on to leave. Meanwhile, he's also managing to reposition with that bout, but the EMP landing onto 3 and leave. Actually, also trying to utilize the EMP maybe here, because he gets booted out and immediately doesn't get anything off of it. Monk also going down. The attempt was there, but it was Shy's EMP that came out on top, as well as the Spark having that number advantage. A great start for the Spark to finally get some momentum rolling.
Yeah, 4 minutes and 40 seconds, though, for the Hunters, and they've got Barrage coming up. They've got Mines coming up as well. They already have the Self-Destruct. You can do a rather cheeky play if you're Late Young and Gaga. Send that Self-Destruct in almost straight through the middle. Try and pin the supports in a corner. Just roll Gaga through, land the Mines on top of them, and just watch them detonate and kill both supports. Mika's going to have to play a little bit more aggressively here, it feels like, to kind of not force that situation to happen and use that rally to save the day. Mines have been used fairly early to keep people off high ground, and Gaga rushes to point, but Guangzhou is able to bat everybody back before they can make use of that space.
Yeah, they really couldn't push in from where the minefields were, and also both the DPS from the Spark were hanging on the back, but now Lead that found Architect does leave Shy here to try to build into this EMP, but now demeching Bernard and stopping him from getting into the mech, although he gets put to sleep. That's a threat that you don't want to deal with right now unless somebody wakes up Leave. He's already back in the fight, and they also have Late Young's Diva Bomb to try to clear some space on the point before trying to engage here. Lee taking a lot of damage, but look at the action going down in that small hallway, I guess you would want to call it here. Guangzhou trying to find Leave, and now also going down too. The Spark managed to hold on Jaws, and now they're just a matter of cleaning up with Architect, still holding on to that pulse bomb too.
Okay, Spark really coming alive now. They're funneling a lot of resources into just trying to kill Leave. They do manage to land a very, very nice sleep, and they follow that up with a lot of pressure coming out from Guangzhou and Bernard, and then Leave's forced to drop, and then who's there? It's Architect and Shy doing a whole bunch of damage and take him out. I mean, they're focusing their resources extremely effectively. Leave has been popping off. Jinmu, though, he's got EMP. He's ready to rock and roll. Leighton can use the bomb as well to get rid of any shielding that Guangzhou can put down. They're going to have to be rather careful.
Gaga moving over to the side, though, while they do try to fixate their attention here. Meanwhile, the rest of the Hunters try to move forward. Great anti, though. Jinmu gets out of that situation, and Gaga's still right there with the rest of the team right behind them. And they also have the EMP, so they're just trying to wait to get into position at this point.
Speaking about waiting to get into position.
Oh, here's the EMP, although doesn't really get as much as they wanted from it. Meanwhile, Shy, to sacrifice themselves, gets a bigger EMP, but Monk was out of position, and rather out of position of the EMP to Transcendence and to keep Hunters in this fight. Now as they moved on to the point, though, the rest of the Spark, they're backing off, and the first tick already going in favor of the Hunters. Diva Bomb finding Mika somehow in the back here, and with the rally, the Hunters are looking a lot better in this fight. Currently with the rest of the Spark just trying to trickle in, Gushwei taking so much damage despite being in the prime.
Look at that personal shield that leaves granted as well by Yveltal. 2 ticks now for the Hunters, Vicky. Architect goes down.
Leave also just trying to isolate Coldest, who was taking a lot of damage off the high ground by Jinmu. He's forced to jump down. Now Jinmu, to get back into the action. They trade that for both supports, but it's the Spark that have that spawn advantage. Leave is so low, and with the swaps to the Architect onto the Doomfist, he was able to get back into the action, and they stop the Hunters. They get only 2 ticks in the process, and they're also low on time now, Jaws. 1 minute and 30 seconds already.
Yeah, only 1 minute and 30. If they don't finish with time in the bank, that means the Spark get a free attack. This is a very dangerous spot, but luckily Jinmu has just been farming, growing those crops, harvesting them, and he has got another EMP. They have the Supercharger. They got a lot of tools to work with, and really the Spark, because of a lot of their roles being used later on in the fight, well, they've only got Nano, and they've got that Self-Destruct too. It's a tough situation for the Spark to defend, but they only need to defend for a minute or stall, in fact.
Meanwhile, Diva Bomb moving into the back, just takes care of the Supercharger, and Gushwei having that nano boost from Coldest, just trying to get into position, holding the front line here. You can see them forcing the Hunters back, and would take so much pressure. They are forced back, but they do have some ultimates to work with for this potential last fight, because they need to reset now that there's less than a minute on the clock.
Yeah, and you can imagine, because there's only 40 seconds remaining as well, that the Spark are going to be able to defend this with it going into OT. Gushwei has got the Gushwei's got the Primal Rage as well. Architect is just annoying the backline to the high heavens. 30 seconds now remains. Hunters, they switched over from the Orisa. They needed Gaga to touch, who's now changed to Ball. Got a lot of ults to work with. Jinmu set up already.
They have no idea. Now he activates the EMP going in. That's going to look a lot better than we've seen before, finding 3, but no follow-ups, and that just basically means the EMP was there to scare them, but Gushwei at least taking some damage now in the Transcendence to get everybody from the Hunters into position. Overtime ticking away, and Leave opening things up, finding Architect here for the rest of the Hunters. This is their opportunity, but look at the way that they're rotating as well. Jaws, they're so spread out, and you also have Gushwei in the back. Also the EMP coming in. Gaga goes down, and great anti coming in from Coldest, looking a lot better this time around for the Spark. Meanwhile, they were able to capture it twice, and the Hunters can't even set their toe onto the second point. Lei Young does find that pick, but is it going to be enough, Jaws? Is the Spark finally putting themselves back in this series after that first map?
Wow, maybe I've spoken to existence a little bit too soon, Vicky. Looks like they're going to be able to hold now. Gaga on the Wrecking Ball can't quite get another touch, and the Spark, they take a map in this series, and that is Coldest's first win in the Overwatch League as well, so a big congratulations to him finding his first map win. 1 apiece right now. Okay. Control looked disastrous for the Spark, but we move on to Assault, a little bit of a different story. Map number 3 on your screens rather soon, guys. This is going to be potentially a long one. We'll see in a bit.
Yo, that was crazy.
Wow.
That was crazy. Okay. It looked really rough at the start of that map anyways.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Spark and the Hunters are currently tied in the first series of the day between the APAC region. And wow, Jaws, what a turnaround from the Spark, because at the beginning of that first map that we saw, I feel like I just saw a completely different team make a turnaround.
Yeah, that looked like a completely different team, because my word, that control was a little bit abysmal. It really was. And now we saw a second point hold on Hanamura. Very, very different look. It did help that Shy was kind of clapping. Let's be real with ourselves here, just hitting the arrows over and over again like he's Legolas. Are we going on to a hybrid? I think we are. King's Row is going to be the next.
Yeah.
Probably one of their better game modes as well. I mean, is this the turnaround for the Spark? Is this what they needed? Remember, we came into today with Spark not winning a game up until potentially this moment. The Hunters, if they win here, they are in the knockouts. If the Spark lose here as well, they're out. They're out for good. They need this W to stand a chance in going to the Countdown Cup. And it being so close to the playoffs as well, every point counts, Vicky. Every single point counts. You want a better seeding, so you have a better chance of making it all the way to the grand finals too.
Especially with the way that the NYXL have been turning up too. I believe they may be tied right now for the playoffs with the Sparks. But yeah, with teams starting to kick things up a bit. I mean, it took a bit of, we're already at the end of the season. But anyways, it's still happening. The Spark really need to start kicking things up too, especially since this is probably one of the worst months that we've seen them at. Starting things off in the Countdown Cup 0-2 and now finally winning a game. This is their opportunity as we move onto a map number 3 into one of their better, objective points here, looking at hybrid King's Row.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a lot easier for the Spark, because even though they won Hanamura, Joss, I feel like they didn't win as cleanly as they would have liked.
Yeah, maybe you wanted a little bit more clean, but you know what? If you finish the map and then you hold in second, that's pretty good to me, especially if you finish with over a minute as well. That must feel pretty good for the Spark. And maybe they're going to prove that I was wrong as well. There's a lot of maybes, and there will be, because we've not really seen Mika or Coldest in a while, Coldest in a long time. And currently, they're not looking great, but in that last map, they look pretty good. It was a lot of Shy, like I said before, kind of carrying that, and the engagements from Gushue as well, setting up his team for success, looking fantastic. It's a little bit more hard to shine on support, especially if you're getting stomped, because your team is just kind of taking too much damage and you're dying and you're not being granted the space because your tanks are getting pressured, and it's a little bit more tough, definitely. I know that as a support player, because when you're getting stomped, it's like, well, what can I do here with the space? I can go for a crazy anti-nade if you want, but you're just getting blown up, so I need to use it on you and myself, who are also getting dove by Tracer, by the way. You know what I mean? If you're granted that space as a support player, you're able to do so many things. You're able to just throw aggressive nades, or be aggressive as a brig, fight in amongst the crowd with your tanks, for example. You're more sightlines as Zen. There's so many things you can do as a support if you're just granted that additional space. So when you're getting stomped, supports look incredibly bad. But when you're winning, supports, they are looking great, like kings and queens out there. All right, King's Row is the map, Vicky. Like you said, probably one of the better game types here for the Spark. So they're definitely happy to get onto this third map without being down 2-0. That is for sure. And same people in as well. So no swaps from either side. And we are getting to that point in the season, Vicky, where I don't think we'll see a lot of swaps. Of course, we saw Spark with Mika and Coldest, but if you look at Hunters, I can't imagine they're going to divert anytime soon with their composition. Or not their composition, but their players that they field. Yeah.
They've been looking pretty comfortable with this lineup, too. I'm wondering here, looking at the Spark, you made mention of how it looks like when you're playing support and when your tanks are spread out and you're forced to hang out on the back line. Coldest actually was doing a really good job, though, at the very end, landing those crucial antis and the follow-ups that we saw, too, when Shy was able to follow up. We also saw the EMP coming in. It was just really good. I like this look now from the Spark, and now with some of that momentum from the last map, they could carry that over here. King's Row with Leave actually teleporting everybody already to get up front before making the swap, and Jinmu actually opting to go for that Sombra, and they have a lot of that terrain to actually maneuver around through, and Gaga wasting no time to follow up with Jinmu.
What?
Architect's gone, by the way.
Yeah, he's trying to get it full so early. It doesn't matter, though. Just like the Spark, we just ran down the front line. Speaking of supports looking good, Coldest looking pretty good. Nice couple of clean kills there on the DPS. Okay, well, that sucks. Shy dies. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. They kill Gaga at the sword at the same time. Hanzo's not the quickest to get back, but he does have a small movement ability. So hopefully he won't be too far gone. But it does mean they have to play back a little bit here.
Yeah, that forced Jinmu out of that back line right there, just trying to isolate Architect, but Architect had Gushui right there. And Gushui also being able to adapt, but you can't adapt when you're getting barraged with a bunch of arrows, and that Monk, of course, having that Discord orb on you. Meanwhile, Lei Young also taking some damage, but it's a Transcendence from Coldest who gets it online first. Look at the comparison. It's a Coldest Transcendence versus Monk, but look, the Hunters, they back off. They waste out that Transcendence, and now they're waiting to just re-engage, and with Bernard going down, that's going to start things off.
Yeah, well, Gaga's hacked, but it doesn't matter, Vicky. Dragon strike through. Oh, no way.
Each other. What? The chances of that. Lee finds the pick, though, with the Dragons onto Coldest. They trade that, but the Hunters have the number advantage, and they have a free pass on this point.
They both click you at the same time and then just staring Dragons into each other's faces. Shy came out on top at the end as he killed Lead, but the point was already getting crashed, and they do. The Hunters do manage to cap in the end. Oh, Gaga sneaks away with 20 HP. Super low. But this is a good spot for the Hunters to be in. As long as Spark doesn't regain control of this archway, they should be golden. Because now they can just set Jinmu up with an EMP in these streets. You can already see him. He's hunting down Coldest. They know he doesn't have Transcendence. He used it earlier.
He's just trying to stay in this position. This is great, but they detect each other. They know. That's some intel, too. Letting them know that Jinmu already has that EMP. He does find a hack onto Mika, gets out of that situation, and Gushui gets the pile drive pick onto Leave. Meanwhile, Monk has a Transcendence. He keeps the Hunters alive, but he has to watch out for Gaga, who goes down, taking so much damage. EMP coming in from Architect and the rest of the cleanup. I like this addition with Coldest because despite that first map, he's already warmed up, contrary to his name, and now the rest of the Spark have control over that payload and this corner.
He might be able to put it up towards another Transcendence as well. They went early with the EMP. They managed to catch Hunters a little bit unawares. And now Coldest only 10% away. He knows Jinmu's setting up his EMP. If he gets this online, he could save the rest of his team.
Here we go, the EMP attempt here from Jinmu. It's going to find 3, and it's found Coldest. Coldest so low, but he has a Transcendence, and he's also hacked. Meanwhile, the Spark still find 2 picks. That engagement wasn't going to work out here because you had Gushui lay down the minefield. Actually just blocking the Hunters from rotating to actually follow from the EMP. That was a great timing on the field.
That was a crazy rally from Mika as well. He sensed the EMP was coming in. That kind of battle between the Sombra and the Zenyatta. He knew Coldest was a little further away, so he activates his rally early, knowing that Jinmu knows that Coldest is close to the Transcendence. It's like a bit of 4-dimensional chess for you.
Nope.
Oh, Leave ends up going down though. That's not 4D chess, that's just a straight headshot through the dome. 1D chess.
Jinmu took a lot of damage from the Dragons, but that's going to build into Monk's Transcendence. Velta already holding on to that rally. They want to use that here, but with Lei Young going down already, D-Mech, look at the positioning from the Spark. They're holding both angles, so they're forced to split both left and right.
Jinmu, luckily enough, burning out towards another EMP. 10% away, or 20% away, but he knows Coldest, of course, has the Transcendence because he didn't use it last fight. The battle yet again continues. Oh, whoa! Okay, both Trans-AKs went up. It's just a 1v1 in the corner. Architect's going to be able to get away. Is he going to be able to stealth in time? He does, without getting revealed. Luckily, but there's the rally to start us off with.
Oh, Gushui falls right into that shield bash. The Diva Bomb coming out, but Bernard does not work out in the way that Bernard wanted that, especially since he gets booted right after he gets out of that mech. Meanwhile, Leave with some control over those Dragons, but the Transcendence from Coldest is going to keep the Spark from backing off. And we're also seeing a quick swap up here. Seeing double bubble, rather. Not double bubble, but rather Lei Young and Bernard with 2 bubbles, and the rally coming in, but the EMP.
Nice Transcendence.
Monk with the Transcendence saves the Hunters. Yeah, he was out of that line of sight from the EMP, so he wasn't threatened by that. So they basically negate Architect's EMP, and they're forced to back off here with the Hunters having free reign over the payload.
Yeah, they're just taking the payload.
They just walked
just
there.
completely out-rotated the Spark. Just completely out-rotated them, Vicky. The Spark, 3 people were in the back line of the Hunters, and the Hunters were like, well, that's fine, we just stack 6 on payload. You have to come to us, and your squishies too. It's not even like their tanks were in the back line. Bernard was in the front line trying to fend them off, and Wow, what a rotation from the Hunters there. Nice transcendence from Monk as well, saving them from Architect's EMP. And now they're in an even better position. They're moving up with an EMP of their own.
Ooh, that's going to be a lot of charge right there for Late Young. Meanwhile, the EMP, they also find Coldest while they're at it. Jimmy already with the rest of the team, but Leave isn't going to be with the team. Meanwhile, Lei Young can hold the front line because he has so much damage coming out, but so does Bernard. The grab comes out first from Lei Young and the follow from the rest of the Hunters. They've cleaned up, and now the Spark have to wait that respawn time before they get back to contest. It may be too late. They can't. The Dragons isn't even going to be enough because they're not going to get off for that. The way the Hunters just played at the end was great. You talk about out-rotating them, talk about Monk and his Transcendence setting them up in place. The Hunters did not give up that momentum. They just pushed the payload all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, they did. They solo EMP'd Coldest on the back line. He was like in their spawn almost. Took him out. And then what happens? Well, you just follow out of Grav. You grab two people. Already, Mika was trying to frontline with Bernard, knowing that Coldest was dead, trying to protect Bernard, trying to get some ult charge online. You just grab them in the spot. You kill them super fast because you have a Zenyatta of your own. You just discord the person in the grab, or just headshot them a few times, to be fair. I mean, Zarya and Brig, especially when they're locked in place, not the hardest things to shoot. Fairly large hitboxes at that. Amazing, amazing snowball there from the Hunters at the very end, but Spark still did a lot of damage to their time bank. Just think about the Streets phase and how they were able to control it too, being able to force the ultimates coming out from Monk fairly early when he was on the Zen. But this is actually what I expected to see as we jump into this round, as we see with Spark attacking. I was expecting Jinmu to maybe roll out on the far on his attack, but the defense makes a lot more sense. They're going to go with the same comp they run on Hanamura. A very defensive style comp. Gaga plays on his own. Late Young helps peel for Leave, and then Jinmu and Yveltal, of course, just up in the skies doing their own thing.
Yeah, we're going to see the Gaga home being built by the statue this time around.
Yeah, look, he's literally out of a house. On the little mini pack.
It's actually so great. Watching Gaga play their own game is just, it's so entertaining, but anyway, Shy going back into the Hangzhou 2. You can really see the rotation attempt from Spark while they try to clear some space. Guxue is already on their back line.
Trust is a fortress. He's sitting on the mini pack as well, like just extra HP. He needs to just poke his head out too, because Monk could just shoot him. So it's like not the worst position at all. Nice ult, but nothing really there. It feels like the Spark right now, they just need to garner space. That's all they need to do. Just hide in this top part here and wait for Guxue. I say that, Guxue taking out Monk with the help of Architect. Start off the fight. Shy just killed 3! How did Shy just kill 3? I'm sorry. Can we just get a replay of that, please? Shy just hit shot 1, killed 2. What just happened?
Oh my. What? The way that he also had line of sight too of Monk. That was insane. We're seeing some swaps over from the Hunters, but a great start for their attack if you're the Spark, or to getting that payload moving. Keep it up though with the Valkyrie activated from Mika. They want to make sure that they can pull it. They want. I guess they want to just hold positioning here, but the Hunters are already wasting no time on that choke point.
Yeah, he's just changing. I was like, what? Hearing the voice line go off, there's no fighting going down. Okay, all right, okay. Shy, of course, has ultimate at this point. Switching over to the Zarya yet again. I really like the Zarya. It stops Guxue from getting like instantly hacked and bashed. Added layer of protection for the ball, which is very nice. Already, look at Gaga up in the high ground though. Guxue should be able to see it. Slam. Dragons. It's not working out. I say that. Leave actually goes down.
He finds Leaf's position. I'm not too sure if actually you had Guxue rolling around pushing him in that line of sight, because you saw Guxue dancing against the walls with that grapple. Meanwhile, they're cleaning up shop. Monk and Late Young are gone. Gaga taking up a lot of that damage, but they've pushed through. The Spark have cleared up both of these corners, and this is huge because now the Hunters have that last corner to really hold as a choke point against the Spark.
Yeah, really nice snowball right now for the Spark, or attempted snowball. It can be thwarted here by the Hunters if they do manage to get the CMP online, because Coldest, again, use the Transcendence. There's no duel here between the Sombra and the Zen. Oh, you know, he's just sitting, like, he can just sit and wait in this corridor, Vicky. That's all he needs to do. He's got the EMP online. He's just trying to spy check for Architect right now, who's got an EMP of his own.
It doesn't matter if Coldest to hold out, but he doesn't even have Transcendence, so it doesn't even matter. It's Monk that really needs to watch out. The huge EMP, it's found 5, including Coldest. Both supports have gone down for the count. Great follow from the Hunters after that Jinmu EMP. Wasted no time here, and they still holding on to Transcendence despite utilizing the rally from Yveltal. That was just to make sure that they could find that ability to clean up the Spark. I love what I'm seeing from the Hunters, holding them back, but look at that time bank. They still have 3 minutes.
That was a really nice initial rotation there from the Spark. They knew Jinmu was firing at them from an angle from the left-hand side or the right-hand side of them. So they pushed left where the rest of the Hunters were just chilling out. But luckily enough, Jinmu repositioned himself quickly, got the EMP off, and a slam double kill there for Gaga.
Monk holding onto this Transcendence, that's absolutely huge here after that last fight, because that's going to be the tool against Architect's EMP, but with Shy going down, they're going to trade that for Leave too. It's a Hanzo for a Hanzo, but Leave is the one that's going to come back with the Dragons. We already see Gaga just trying to roll into position, but Gushwei is the one that's taking most of the damage.
Transcendence still available for Monk here. He needs to just play all the way back. Architect, he's got EMP. There's the grab.
Huge grab, but the Transcendence is out already from Monk, and you already know Architect could save this EMP for the next fight. With that grab, they melted the Hunters, and now they have the ability to hold that next corner.
Yeah, they do.
Monk is gone.
They really do. That is a sad Monk and a sad Leave who died at the very end there. They just burst them down through the Transcendence. Transcendence was 300 HPS, so they were doing way more damage than that to burn down Late Young, I believe, and a couple other people that were in the grab. It's pretty easy when you have a Discord as well, just like permanent focus fire.
See with Shy, another grab getting pulled out, but now this time from Late Young, and the Dragons to match that. They find Bernard here, and Coldest had the Transcendence. It's just like you were talking about, Jaws. You can't heal through that when so much damage is coming out, and with those Dragons, that's going to be the nail in the coffin to follow up from that grab. Hunters at least could relax a little bit, because it was looking like the Spark were able to push that payload all the way home, but right now they've been held back by this corner, and this is that annoying corner that you have to push through.
Yeah, like you mentioned there, again, the burst damage from the Hunters, regards to that Transcendence. If anybody remembers double grab Dragon meta, that was a pain meta for the Zen players. Speaking of Zen players and pain, well, there you go.
That was a great attempt there. The EMP did land on both Mika and Coldest, and that put a stunt to the Sparks approach, because Architect got called out first. Although died with the EMP, that's still that opportunity with this time bank to try to get that payload with some extra credit around that corner.
You say time bank though, Vicky, but 2 minutes is not a long time on King's Row on last. Like, you can stall for a fair while. These fights need to be very definitive at this point for the Spark. Architect, another EMP. He has been revealed though, an aggressive push in.
Found 3 here. That was really good, but Monk was the one that was hanging out in the back, has a Transcendence to meet up with the rest of the team in their front line, allow them to escort the way right back to the payload. With those minefields though, it's not going to do much as the Hunters back off out of that peripheral view. You know, the rally though, it's going to move everybody from the Spark forward, but you certainly have Gushwei taking so much of that damage, but Mika's right there with the rally, tries to give some of that armor. They find 2, and now the Hunters are forced to back off. Currently, Bernard also reaching that grab, but they may not even need it at this point. Jaws, look at Shy popping off, following from these Discord orbs, doing so much damage to the support lineup from the Hunters.
Still going to get around this last corner though, and the rest of the Hunters have spawned in time. Jinmu EMP available. He's permanently he got hacked there. Can he escape? Yeah, of course he can. Bernard, grab Dragons available.
Here comes the Dragons though. Not going to be followed up with the grab. Coldest hanging out in the back line. Does have that Transcendence. Has to avoid Jinmu if he wants to keep the Spark in here to get that payload to the finish line. Less than a minute now, Jaws. Here comes a grab from Late Young. Gets hit with the Discord. He's taking some damage, but it's leaving. Gaga would take most of that damage. Mika goes down, but Jinmu and Leave won't be in this fight. No DPS left from the Hunters, and take that with Monk going down too. This is going to be the opportunity for the Spark. They're going to be able to move this payload all the way to the finish line.
Oh, they do. A minute has been added to their time bank as well. Oh my, what? I was a little bit taken aback there by the Spark, not just throwing out the grab Dragons. potentially they tried to force something there, force the issue, and it was a nice split off on Late Young, who was actually on the Zarya. They split him off completely, and then they ended up chunking him down enough where Hunters felt that they just need to kind of back him up. Oh, this must be the triple at the very start. So let's see how this actually went down.
Oh, he did have
so
the
just
view.
one, 2 arrows. Oh my word, Shy. What did I say on Hanamura? Shy needs to have these pop-off performances. That is how Spark finds success. And that is what I'm talking about right there. Shy, 2 arrows, 2 kills, finishes it up with a nice little Storm Arrow double body shot onto Jinmu in the sky. It is a pleasure to watch Shy on the Hangzhou, just on any hero, to be fair. I think Shy and Leave this year have definitely been just front runners for me when it comes to MVP candidates. I'm definitely a little bit more biased, and I think a lot of the APAC, the Eastern region casters will be a little bit because we cast this region more so. But Leave, for me, is someone that stands out in my mind as an MVP candidate for sure.
Definitely have to agree with you.
You can go vote for MVP currently as well, so make sure you go check out the Overwatch League website for that too.
But yeah, Shy being also on this Hanzo pick just changed things up for the Spark. Also just putting on so much pressure, and with Jinmu being back on the Spara, Shy's warmed up and Gushui's taking a nap. Goodbye, Gushui. Oh no, that's not how you want to start things off here, but you do, especially if you're the Hunters and you're Gaga building up your house on that health pack. Now showing his face here. He's saying, now you see me, now you don't, and now they're going to be able to hold forward. They find Shy too, and Late Young being able to help split up the Spark as they're forced to hold back, and the rest of the front line, specifically the supports, are left to fend for themselves. Gushui getting some revenge, getting a Veltal while he's at it, but the spawn advantage is going to go in favor of the Spark.
Yeah, it will go in favor of the Spark. Veltal will be back momentarily, though. He can get taxied by somebody. Someone has to touch here for the Spark, Vicky. It's going to be Architect by the looks of it.
And Bernard here, too. They're going to contest, push it into overtime. They have to stay onto the point, though, to force it here, and leave with the Dragons. He's going to clear so much space. The rotation around the statue. They're still on the point, and Bernard is so low. They finally get the D-Meg, and Gushui gets put to sleep immediately. They wake him up, but he's so low. Leave just splitting some of that attention, now forced back onto the point with this Transcendence out. Coldest gets melted down the moment that they get split up and nobody stays on the point. The way they just played that was so spread out. They didn't know who to focus down when it came to the Hunters.
Nano Mercy as well. Maybe to keep Mercy alive, Veltal alive at the end of that. I'm not entirely sure. It felt like it needed to go on Jinmu there so he could just start bursting people down. But if you need to use that Nano to save someone's life and just save it in those last crucial moments, it's probably worth using on a squishy target. Especially someone like Veltal as well, who's actually very close to the ult also. Okay. This is going to have to be a defense of a lifetime for the Spark. 2 minutes and a bit for the Hunters for 33% on point A. Again, Shy needs another pop-up moment. I want to quickly touch on what happened in the last fight though, Vicky. Or the fight previous to overtime being triggered by Architect. That rotation there from Gushui, we saw him got slept, he got burst down extremely quickly, had to go for a big reset. All that meanwhile, Spark were then doing the same thing they did on their first attack, which was rotate everybody except Gushui up the stairs to then set up for Gushui's pile driver in when he does come back and wrap around. But the problem was, the Hunters had kind of sniffed that out. They knew exactly what was happening because the Spark did it already on their first attack. And they were like, well, you haven't got Gushui there for disruption. We've only got to make our way past Bernard. It should be easy peasy. They did just that. They cleared the board of Spark and they forced them to reset in a situation where you need to then be able to touch because overtime is just around the corner.
I feel like that further highlights the adapt check from the Hunters and what kind of team this is in general. Now look at the positioning too. Jinmu already getting the hack on that health pack here. That's going to already set the Hunters in a better position when they make that rotation around the statue. Meanwhile, Jinmu taking a lot of damage, forced to translocate out of the situation, and the rest of the Spark, they're trying to sandwich the Hunters, but Mika popping off. It's because everyone's decided to fight in such close quarters. That shield bash coming out, and the Spark winning this team fight, already looking great. The Hunters have some of that extra time in the time bank, though, Jaws.
They do indeed. 1 minute 30. It's going to grant them another 2 attacks, depending on how quickly they go. They want to go fast, of course, looking at their composition, even without the Lucio. Not 2 ult charges garnered there, and I'm really looking at Spark's support ult bank right now. 70% for the Zenyatta and the Transcendence, 65% on the Rally. These are game-changing ultimates, fight-changing ultimates that can save in the last couple of moments. But a D-Mech on Bernard this early? You cannot let this happen.
Wow, that was insane damage, and the follow-up too from those Discord orbs. That was really great from Lee, doing so much of that damage. But they're going to trade that for Gaga. But Gaga could get back into that fight way quicker. The Pulse Bomb coming out. The Transcendence now from Cold is going to allow the Spark to move in, but they can't. The body block, yeah, they can't even get through here. Shy popping off here, finding 2. Found both Evalto and leave. Meanwhile, Gaga trades that, but Monk is still here, and he has a Transcendence. He used it up, but they won't have the rally as Evalto was one of the first to go down here. They may have needed that to at least keep up the pressure. Diva Bomb now dropping down. Architect gets taken out. The rally from Evalto has finally come in, and the Hunters are moving on to this point. This is the opportunity that they need to secure this point on this map. Currently the Spark without Bernard, you can see them backing off before trying to re-engage. Minefields is going to be a problem in the EMP too. They won't be able to touch.
Shy can't dash! Shy can't dash! He can't touch! He got EMP'd! Oh, Shy was just popping off at the end there, but Chengdu Hunters managed to do it in the end, Vicky. 33% on point A on King's Row. Map point as well. They're about to see themselves in the knockout stage if they can take this next one. Life hangs in the balance here for the Spark as they're about to be eliminated from the Countdown Cup Qualifiers, Vicky. Not a situation they wanted to find themselves in. They managed to come back on Hanamura. King's Row was not their map, but can they push this to a map 5? We're going to have to find out. We're going to jump to a quick break. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome. The Hunters are currently at match point. They need to take one more map, and that's it. They take it over the Spark Jaws, and we already discussed how important this moment is for the Spark if they want to remain relevant this weekend and in the Countdown Cup alone. So right now, it's possible, but can they do it this next map and take us to a map 5?
Yeah, I mean, they need to pull something crazy out the bag here like they did on Hanamura. They need to win. They just need to win. 2 spots left for that Countdown Cup knockout playoffs. I was thinking knockout, knockouts, playoffs, play-ins.
It's honestly late where we're both at. So.
Yeah, it is. We can't keep using that excuse, Vicky. Although there's only a couple of more casts left in the season for us, so it won't be that late much longer. Yeah. True. So anyway, 2 places left, not 4. 2 places left for the teams to make it into the knockouts for the Countdown Cup. And the Spark are sitting on 0 wins in these qualifiers. Like, that is the danger zone of all danger zones right now. And they're facing the Hunters too. Like, this is so difficult. Like an upwards hill battle. They've subbed in Mika and Coldest as well. Something completely new for them. Coldest, like I mentioned before, we haven't seen him since early 2020. Like, this is not a Spark I expected to see today, just looking at the lineups. However, on Hanamura, they did fantastic. We're now jumping onto Havana, though, a very, very different game where snipers do reign supreme, and you can play a lot of that Farah too, especially on that first point. So they got their work cut out for them. I really got a feel with this hero pool that they've landed themselves in, with Shy not being able to play Ashe, Vicky, it's really just bad news bears. It feels like it's going to be a Kree day, I think, and maybe a little bit of a soldier as well on first point their offense to try and deal with Jimmu, because he is a nightmare in the skies. And then you just have to worry about Leave too. Like, there's so many different threats coming at you if you're playing against Hunters.
I feel like it all trickles down to what you were talking about before. It really ends up being Shy having that pop-off moment, and that's what we saw both on Hanamura and initially when we saw Shy get that pop-off for the first point on King's Row. And that's what opened things up for the Spark. I feel like that's when they feel most comfortable, of course, because Jinmu isn't being that threat in the sky, and Shy has been landing their shots. They've been doing a really good job at making sure Jinmu isn't getting away with murder, quite literally. So I think that's what we're going to be seeing going in, and as long as Shy keeps that up, the Spark are definitely gonna put this into a map 5.
Yeah, look, Shy, you're gonna have to put a few more kilos on in your backpack, maybe just a little bit. No pressure at all. Yeah, maybe play the Hangzhou again, because his Hangzhou just phenomenal, right? Double sniper is Havana, like point A and point C if you can make it there. Snipers, snipers, snipers. The long sightlines are just crazy good for you. So you are going to need to pull that out in just a moment, I feel. Especially if Jinmu is on the Farah. You can still play Widowmaker. No, Widowmaker, it's good against Farah, but because of like how you aim as the Widow, you're not as quick as someone like an Ashe. You're not going to be able to deal with someone like Jinmu, whose movement's going to be just too good for you to kind of react to as the Widow. Of course, you need a little bit of time to charge up your shots as well, which doesn't help when Farah is kind of barraging you from a million miles away with those rockets. Right, I think we were just in a brief, I wouldn't say pause, but we're just waiting for everybody to jump back on their PCs. But we are just getting into Havana now. Could be the potential final map here for the Spark in this Countdown Cup qualifier situation.
Just dancing a little bit to the Havana music, one of my favorites, of course. Wish I had a colada I could just take up right now. The Cuban coffee being as great as it is.
Yeah,
but
Cuban coffee seems crazy, Vicky.
Oh, it's insane. It's so
like
good
strong,
though.
Right?
But no bias, obviously. Yeah, it's super strong. You get them
that
usually here in Miami.
I'd be buzzing. I'd be like shaking, you know. If I was on that much caffeine.
It's funny. They actually, I think they have a robot poster on this map, like trying to advertise like coffee or something like that, because that's what's really popular. When it comes to that Cuban coffee, especially down here in South Florida.
I would definitely want to try some. But
it's so
I'd
good.
have to
it's
go.
So good.
Yeah, because everything you've told me about it just sounds amazing. But just the caffeine aspect of it, I'm like, I'd be bouncing off the walls. Like,
next Florida homestand, hopefully, crossing our fingers. You know, as things open up little by little.
We can have some.
Everyone needs to try out that Cuban coffee. But we're getting started, and Jinmu is on that Pharah on this defense, though, and not anymore. Actually, not anymore. And this is the threat that I was talking about. When you have Shy popping up, you can't get away with murder if you're Jinmu. It's not going to work out. It's not, Valto is not going to be enough.
The perfect pick from Shy. I cannot believe that happened so quick. The defense from the Pharah, the offense, sorry, the Pharah, the close hold, that is so difficult to break sometimes, especially if you have a world-class Pharah like Jinmu on the other side. Unreal start to the map already. Pop-off moments from Shy, left, right, and center. And look at this Mercy Beam as well. Just on Shy permanently. This guy, he don't miss. And they do even more damage now. Killing off Leave too.
They know this is the situation. This is what they wanted. They were prepared to deal with the Jinmu Pharah. They're taking care of the rest of the Hunters. Forget the Pharah in general. And look at the pressure that Shy's presence is, holding the front line, and everybody from the rest of the Spark is backing him up.
This is, another shot. Nano though. Nice direct hit.
Oh, Jinmu's answering right back now. It's time for the Hunters to shine. They're tired of it. Another one. Bring it up. They're all coming in, and this is in a silver platter. And the Spark, they're forced to back off. Look at Bernard. He knew the situation.
Oh, what a sick couple of shots there from Jinmu. Double body shot. One on Shy, one on Architect. As quick as you like. Now, again, another tough situation. Can Shy land another crazy arrow? He's rolling his eyes. We need the Mercy back. Just please pocket me. Mika, I know we need to break for the Zen, but please, bro.
Oh, and he knew right there, throwing out the Dragons, trying to block the rotation. He still finds Monk, by the way, who was by that high ground. You know, Valto does get hacked. Backs off with that Valk, but Jinmu gets the Rocket Barrage, and Valto gets into position to get that res onto Monk. All that effort for naught when the Spark have none of their supports to help back them up. Jinmu does tunnel themselves into that room, though, and gonna end up blowing themselves up, too, in the process. But now with the Valto going down, that was not according to plan with the Hunters. Did not want to funnel themselves in that room.
Jinmu's actually coming back on the Genji now, just trying to make something work with this EMP coming out from Leave. They might be able to... Are they even going to go for this? I don't think they should, especially with Late Young going down.
Oh, and the Discord Orb too, and getting hacked. They're just nailing the coffin right now. They're securing their way on taking this payload, but they forced out the Transcendence. They had the EMP. They utilized a lot just to get that first point. Meanwhile, the Hunters, they already have their ultimates online.
I believe that was a zero-man EMP, by the way, from Lee. It was just a manual hack on Architect. I need to see that again, because I was looking across the board. As soon as those EMPs come out, you want to look who's hacked. One person got hacked on my screen. It was Architect. I need to see a little replay of that one. I don't think we'll... that was a true Memp moment, for sure.
We've been getting a lot of those. But yeah, with that being said...
I think this season, with EMPs in general, a lot of Memps.
It's cursed. Cursed.
It is.
Depends on what day it is, apparently. But yeah, this Discord Orbs too are just been putting on so much pressure and damage. Oh, Jinmu's gone. That's Cold is getting that trade in a way better position. He knew where Jinmu was too originally, just kept pressuring him. Hunters, they do trade that. It's a 2-for-2 situation here, except it's the Spark that don't have their support, so they need to worry about that sustainability. Quick reset for Lit Young, being able to get right back into the mech of the Hunters, having that positional control over the high ground. Gushue is forced to roll out.
I love Jinmu. They're staying on the Genji. He's trying to make it work. I mean, it's good, especially if you get this Nanoblade off. You either force Coldest to use this Transcendence, and if he doesn't, he dies. And then if he does, Leave comes in with the EMP afterwards, or even the fight, the next fight, and then you can win it from there. Nice, like, two-pronged attack, two big win conditions for the Hunter set up. Shy switching over to the Kree, yes. He really wants to deny as much space as he possibly can from Leaf and Jinmu, just hanging around Coldest, hanging around Mika. You can see the kind of, it's like a little trio, a little goon squad coming out.
Oh, goons. True goon out here is Architect. Meanwhile, the rally, Jinmu gets stunned, Leon gets hacked, and Jinmu gets burned down. Discord Orb also on him. Meanwhile, the EMP landed onto both Gaga and Late Young. Gaga can't go anywhere. Great follow-up after Architect's EMP here, and Coldest still has a Transcendence. So right now, the Spark are in a way better position, and the rally trying to like save Monk apparently. Monk actually does end up surviving, but the Transcendence to save the rest of the Spark from that EMP. See the Hunters, they didn't even dive in from that. They just wanted to hold the position instead.
Jimmy's got Blade as well, or like 3% away at least. He just needs one little tag.
Oh, there you go. He does have it at the ready, but he doesn't have a nano boost, but he's going in for the back, and he gets hacked immediately! Gets shut down! That's what happens when you don't have the nano boost. He had so much faith. You saw the faith, too, as he jumped in with enthusiasm, and he just gets shut down from the get-go.
Oh, they knew that was going to happen. They just knew it. Jimmy switched over to the Tracer, trying to get back in time. Amazing minefield from Gaga to keep them in the fight as well.
Really good way to pressure out, especially in this corridor, just trying to keep their bodies blocking that entryway. Meanwhile, the Diva Bomb doesn't find anyone, but Late Young does find Bernard here, as they were forced out to camp out that health pack. Great way for the Hunters to stabilize.
That look, I'm asking for a ton of replays here, but like, I think that was a double kill with one melee by the looks of it, unless it was like a quick, like, boop, boop.
Like a collateral.
Yeah, like you can, it's got like a small like AoE kind of to it. You can double kill with one melee. It is possible, highly improbable, but Jinmu, of all people, I can imagine will be able to do it.
Now they have 10 seconds left too, Jaws, just to at least stay on this payload. And that's one way to start things off in a great way, with Leaf going down with the EMP, which means they don't have that her win condition here. Monk does have the nano boost at least to keep Gaga in this fight, and he's popping up. He's finding Coldest and Shy. His positioning right now. Meanwhile, Jinmu, he's distracting Bernard as he gets sandwiched at the same time. He's literally getting tossed around by Gaga. EMP, but for what? With Gushue being the only one left from the Spark to keep this into overtime. Love the way the Hunters played that positional-wise, too. Despite Leaf going down first, the Spark couldn't clutch it out.
Yeah, they knew the Spark had to touch at that point as well, so they, hey, the ball is definitely going to touch. We're going to have that, no problem. That's one person out of the fight. Who do they give Nano to? Of course, it's Jinmu on the Tracer. Just whips around the corner with Monk as well, doing some additional damage. Just rolled through. Oh, here it is, here it is!
Oh, yes.
Is this one melee with two? Is this melee? Yes, it was!
Yes,
it was a double kill with one melee. Oh, I called it. I knew it. I just knew it. Yes. Okay, that's cool. I'm really excited about that. Just overly excited that we saw that. But it looks cool. Like, that is something that you rarely see. A double kill with a single melee hit from Jinmu. And their positioning too, like you were mentioning, Vicky. They were corralled in that corner. There was nothing much they could do. Gaga separated everybody initially with the minefield, and then Jinmu just kind of went to town on the supports in the back end. Like, being able to use the mines like that and not just like the classic kind of just diving on support, slamming and hoping to go for something, but just putting them in a position where they can't even move through the mines and they're trapped in a corner. It's just so nice to see. Gaga is been a superstar this season. His first season, of course, in the Overwatch League, on every role possible too, or every hero possible as well. His Orisa also looks fantastic, which he's rolling out with here.
Like how you noted those minefields blocking in that rotation. I feel like that's kind of been the name of the game when it comes to Chengdu Hunters. And aside from those minefields utilized in that way, you also have Leave doing something similar with the Dragons. And yeah, with Jinmu making that swap over to the Pharah and Kaga now on the ball, they're going to have to try to split that attention a similar way when Leave is the one on the Tracer. But you have to worry about Shy, who's been popping off on the Hangzhou.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you have to worry about him, but there's no Diva on the side of Spark. As soon as they didn't see a Diva, they knew exactly what comp they needed to go. Already, Architect goes down. Remember, the only two people that can check in the air for Jinmu and Yveltal is going to be Shy and Coldest, and they're projectile-based. They are not hit scan. And this is going to be an easy roll through. Everybody gets softened up by Jinmu, Late Young Gaga, and even Leave as well will just jump in, finish the kills. It's just that easy. Immediately you can see Bernard switches over. He knows he has to go Diva here to stop those rockets from just peppering the backline.
have the Hunters at match point right now, Jaws, and with that momentum and where the Spark couldn't push the payload past that corner, they need to contest, they need to waste as much time away from the Hunters this time. Currently see already with the Hunters getting some of their ultimates online. They're gonna have the nano boost first. Gushue gets hit with a nice anti, gets to get out of the situation, but Bernard isn't as lucky. He gets demeched already.
Oh, they didn't touch!
And no one touched! No one touched either! They get that first point free, basically!
Tragedy! Oh, no. The ball was super low as well, to be fair. Gushue was kind of scurrying back to the rest of his team. Ideally, it's obviously Bernard and Gushue that keep the payload in contestation, but now look at this roll through as well. They're going to be able to hold so far up. Nice pulse bombing. I don't know why Architect was throwing out pulse bomb in that situation. Maybe you want to switch over to the McCree or something to try and deal with Jimmu in the skies. But you don't throw pulse out there. It's not going to hinder the offense of the Hunters. And the Hunters have 5, 6 ults almost on board. This looks actually inevitable.
They literally just have not stopped since they got that payload past that first corner. That's their answer, I guess, for the second point. The logic is they're going to be in a closed room, and now Genji's gone. He won't even be here. Lee finds him as he tries to exit the room, and the payload is right there. It's getting contested. The desperate transcendence to keep the Spark at least to contest. But look at this. There's only 4 bodies here, and Jinwoo hasn't been dealt with yet. Look at the way he's positioning himself right on the other side of these minefields, and he can just fly over them at the other side. Meanwhile, the rest of the Spark, they're split up, and they're still trying to desperately contest. This minefield's making it even harder from Gaga, who's been so precise with making sure that the Spark can't rotate in time. They have too much pressure, and look at that golden box, Jaws. It's literally right there, inches away from the Hunters beating the Spark.
Shy is still popping, though. He did manage to find 2 kills, but look who's now on the payload. Gushue is back and ready to roll.
And he's got Shy right there on the Tracer to help him out at the same time. Gushue taking a lot of damage. I know he's going for the health back, but look how quickly they were to burn him. They don't let him get away. And now the Dragons are going to clear the payload, and they're still going to stay on it. They're still getting some of that extra credit. Shy's right there to contest, but for how long, Jaws?
I don't know. I mean, Architect needs to pull out a Miracle Blade at this point. Mika's already dead.
Oh. Currently have the recall already used up too, and nobody's bothered to leave. Who's been in the back? Meanwhile, Shy sees the opportunity here, but he can't do it. Lee finds him. He's found Architect too. Back-to-back both DPS out just at the hands of Lee.
I mean, Diva's going to be able to stall, but not for much longer. I think Gushue is going to get the final touch. Yvelto, he already popped the ult. I mean, Jinbu's got the pulse bomb as well, maybe looking for spawners, and that's going to be it. The Chengdu Hunters have qualified for the knockout stage, and Spark will be gone. 3-1. They did find a map. They found Hanamura, Vicky. It was good. It was a good showing for the Spark just on that one map, but I set it up at the very start of the series. The Hunters, they've looked so good over the last couple of weeks. And the Spark with different changes to their support structure for this series. Had a small spark of brilliance. Yes, it did. But the Hunters, they are no match for them. And now they will move on to the knockout stage.
I liked what I saw from Coldest, though. That was a pretty good performance despite that. And I feel like when it comes to playing against an opponent like the Hunters, who, and honestly, looking at their performance this month alone, I would say they're pretty much the favorables going through that APAC region, and just actually how they've been performing. They've improved so much throughout the season that the Spark, unfortunately, it's kind of the opposite way around, where with so many changes happening, it's like they've been struggling on keeping up, but that last fight, it literally looked like that team started getting things together after the second map, and that first map was just a completely different look at the Spark, so Spark still putting up a pretty good fight.
Yeah, it's like up, down, up, down, up, down, but I mean the Hunters from strength to strength every single week. There wasn't a person on that team that didn't have a pop-off moment. And, well, one of them is going to be our player of the match as well, and it's going to be Jinmu. I gotta say, just off of that, boop, that little double kill with the melee, that sealed the deal for me for player of the match. But no, his Pharah, of course, is just world class, absolutely world class. I'd be scared going into the playoffs against the Chengdu Hunters. I'm very, very excited to see how they end up doing as well with without the hero pools, because we've seen a lot more looks from the Hunters than we've ever really seen. Also, their roster is so variable. We've seen a little bit of Among as well come in. But being able to play different things on the main tank has just been such a boon for them this season. Gaga is just run the house. They've been the exciting team to watch, like through and through.
Yeah, I specifically Jinwoo too. Looking at the way that his Pharah has made a mark in this region, I'm wondering, is NA ready to not play Ignore the Pharah? Are they prepared for what the Hunters are going to bring to the plate now? Because this is a great opportunity for the Hunters to really put in the work that they've been practicing for. And this is that opportunity in the Countdown Cup where that's really going to shine. Specifically Jinwoo, that a lot of people had his name in their mouth. They're wondering, can he do it? And I mean, look at the stats right now from this series. Just
direct hits.
So much. That's actually insane. That's actually insane. Just being able to track preemptively as Pharah and being able to get those consistent direct hits is not easy.
No, it's really not. Almost 20k damage as well. 3 barrage kills, but normally barrage is the press Q to die button, so not too much surprise there. It's the neutral damage from the Pharah that really helps your team succeed. There you go. The Chengdu Hunters, they're in the knockout stage now for the Countdown Cup. We're going to jump to a quick break, though, because there's still one more series to come up on your screens. And we do have Avril and Seth to take you through it. But first, we're going to take a small breather, and we'll be back for the game break in just a moment.
The Hunters, they've taken it over the Spark, and they're going to be sitting pretty comfortably in the knockouts jaws. Currently, I believe their next opponent is going to be the Valiant, which is going to be tomorrow morning.
Yes, it will be. So, yeah, you can imagine they're probably going to win that series, which will be rather nice. But, yeah, let's talk about the Countdown Cup, I guess, in this game break real quick. And I did the game, by the way, with Seth too, you have to pick 3 words with the letters that I give you.
Oh, here we go.
I want to play something different this time. I want to play something different. How good is your film knowledge?
Oh,
do you watch many films? It's okay.
A long time ago. The thing is, my memory is it has so many holes in it, but I used to watch so many movies when I was younger. Let's see.
Half of this is just to annoy Seth, by the way, because I know how much film he is. But describe the Hunter's performance using a film title.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. The Shining. The Shining.
Okay,
it's The Shining. All right. Yep.
That was pretty good.
Why is it The Shining? All right, I'll tell you though, because it looked like the Hunters in the beginning of the season. It looked like they were frozen, and then by the end of the whole film, they unfroze and just started popping off, getting a lot more comfortable with each other. You could tell, and now that hard work is definitely paying off. You can see it, especially within this last stage. But yeah, I would say The Shining, honestly.
Okay.
Watching them is
a double
been
movie
like
reference there. I don't know if you knew you made that one, but there was a double movie reference there, using the word Frozen too. They were frozen,
there you go.
and now they are The Shining. So there you go. You were clever and you didn't even know. Perfect. No, that's really nice. Yeah, I mean, look, Hunters have been crazy. They really have. I mean, they're an unstoppable machine currently. And the Spark, they're still a little bit all over the place. It does really kind of suck to see, because their roster was just so hyped up coming into the season. I was extremely excited to what they could do with this gigantic roster, which eventually just kind of got whittled away. Maybe there is some chance later down the road for them, but I mean, the Hunters, they're probably going out tonight for a little bit of celebration, I can imagine, and preparing them for the Countdown Cup. But that is it for us right now, Vicky. We got Seth and Avril taking you through the next series. Do not go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it. We got some more Eastern region action coming up in just a moment.
Charge. You see the way that Eileen's now on the back details trying to find Alarm and Carbate. He swings in, makes a choice of one also going in with them. The enabling from the rest of the Charge.
Nancy on the 3, it's going to be Molly taking down now. Lee Jig on dead out of the fight. Great punch timing there from Milan Ron to finish off Boyd as he hits the ground. They will lose 3 members in exchange, but this is going to be the Valiant maintaining.
Much damage from that flux. Here comes Bakeli though, and cleaning up around Jodak and make it 2. What a flex. Sit down, Guangbong. You're out of this fight.
Point, they nearly have the gap already. The Valiant need to stay glued to this. Milanron, he builds up, gets the self-destruct. There's going to be 2 self-destructs simultaneously. Lee Jig eliminated. Now Fate's going to be gone. Lip manages to find 1. Cho Cheng going to be eliminated. Just for a moment, they've actually done it. They have made it happen. Welcome back, guys. It's time for the final series of the evening. I am Achilles. That is Avril, and we'll be guiding you through the action here for the final set. Now we have the LA Valiant getting ready to go up against the Guangzhou Charge, 2 teams that have had their struggles throughout the season, obviously, Avril, but one a bit more so than the other, I guess you could say, especially in recent times. The Guangzhou Charge looking way more meshed, looking way more synergetic, and a lot of that has to do with their DPS lineup.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty accurate. The Chargers have had a better season overall. They've actually been able to secure matches. They've got a lot more maps in there as well. But, you know, one thing I'm glad about, Seth, is they really did bring in the Valiant experts to cover Valiant once again, because by my calculations, this is our 7th time casting the Valiant of their season, and it will be a total of 7 out of 16 of their matches that we've covered now. So we've done the most Valiant games of anybody. We really are the experts on Valiant here. So, you know, what do you need to know? What do you want to know about Valiant? Well, they haven't won yet. Will they win today?
Probably not. But, well, you never know. You never really know what's going to happen when things get down to the wire and how these teams are going to perform. I mean, it's not like the Valiant haven't had their moments where they look like they are going to be able to take more maps. They look like they could potentially take a series.
They've had specifically
so
3 moments.
Those times. Yeah, you can count each and every one of them. They're all memorable. It's just a lot of space in between. But, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I guess, is really all we can say at this point. This is just kind of what happened this year, and we've been watching it. They've been dealing with it, and all we can do is sit back and try to enjoy the games. Because if nothing else, they have certainly been entertaining.
Do you want to know the very specific 3 moments that Valiant have had? I know them off by heart now because there haven't been many. It's a King's Row win versus Chengdu. It is a Volskaya draw versus Shanghai, and then a Numbani win versus Fusion. So that's it. That's all 3 of their moments. I think I've even done it in chronological order and specifically, you know, where they happened as well. So
there you go, nailing it down. Boom. There's your Valiant analysis that we got from the experts right here.
No one more knowledgeable about Valiant than us, really.
It's true. Not even not even Ben Troutman or Matt Marcel can cover as much ground as we can when it comes down to the Valiant. We got all the stats locked away in our brains. Screw PCs and all of these algorithms that they have to work with to track the data. We've just got it on lock right here in our heads. But I do believe we're going to be taking a look at the starting lineups here in just a moment as we get ready to move forward into this series. And we'll see, what they're going to be working with. I don't think we're going to be seeing too many stretches of the imagination when it comes down to the lineups here, of course, for the Valiant.
Trust me.
Things off. Yeah,
you're gonna need to do a bit of imagination stretching if you want to imagine a solid victory today, or maybe any. I don't want to rule them out. That's a lie. Honestly, I just want to be as based as possible. But to be fair to them, look, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt every single time they've come on. All 7 times that we've casted them, including now, and this is their 15th match overall. One thing is certain here that you can't fudge the stat. They are officially eliminated from not only the Countdown Cup but also the play-ins as well. So these are their last 2 games. We will be covering this game, and then they'll play again tomorrow versus Chengdu, and tomorrow's match versus Chengdu will be Valiant's last official game of 2021.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. It feels like we're watching